Some years ago, Thoth spoke to me about the star eagles and the children of the Divine Rayship. So let us begin with the star eagles. They are a mysterious race of beings that are actually our star kindred, like all the others. They do come from the blue star Rigel and Orion, and they are formed with a very subtle field of frequency. Now they are made from the Adam Kadmon template, that is, they follow the human form, and they are our star kindred genetically, but they have a kind of distinct appearance and vibration frequency that sets them apart in many ways from the other star kindred. The star eagles and their cousins, you might say, a subset that Thoth refers to as the star hawks, have come to this earth from Rigel at times, infrequently, but they have been here, and they have also incarnated on this planet, again, rarely. Now, I'm not going to be speaking a lot about the Starhawks. I'm just going to touch in on it because it's really sort of, like I said, a star eagle subset. Again, Thoth uses language that helps us understand, but it's never giving us the whole picture because we don't have the reality spectrum to be able to determine how that picture would look or feel. So he gives us not just symbols, but deeper logic, he likes to call it a logic framework to work with. When he speaks of these star eagle hawk beings, he does say they sometimes appear eagle-like, hawk-like in their appearance, even though they are human star kindred. This is kind of like the lion-headed ones of Sirius, I would imagine. These beings are very important to us and the planet Earth, and that's why I'm bringing them forward right now in this video. So let's pursue this a bit further. Thoth has said about the star eagles that they guardian and orchestrate the divine rays as they come forth from the Duat through the Metatronic pillar of light. Now, according to Egyptologists, the Duat represents the underworld, but Thoth does not agree with that. He states that the Duat is a far more complex, dimensional realm of integration with the higher cosmic experience. Thoth describes the divine rays as the colors are far more vibrant than our Earth zone here. They are also more primary colors. In Numis Om, that's the first stage of the new Earth, there are two more, which Thoth is suggesting I call the Saf and the Parama. Thoth describes these colors as Saf being warm and Parama being cool. Together they form Ajanu, a vibrant color which penetrates the heart so completely that we as humans in our current dense bodies would simply die to see. Our physical heart organ would quantum into such a high frequency, its current physical exterior would explode. In fact, even in Numis Om, Anjanu is seen only by the illumined ones and angelics. Although in later stages of the Earth star, of course, the human experience would envelop that. The colors of Numis Om form new divine ray associations. Thus, their indigo ray is far different in frequency and much more vibrant color than the indigo ray which penetrates our current Earth zone. The 9 divine rays of Numis Om. Ra Nu Ris, which is a red, orange, gold. That's an approximate because we really can't imagine what the true color is, but it is approximately a red-orange gold. La Nef Schist, blue-green silver. Yav, yellow saf. Natium, blue silver. Shishehni, indigo gold. Mu opt nis, violet blue green. Hai, gold saf. Task, silver parama, and Ajanu, Sat Parama. While the star eagles hold the balance of the rays as they penetrate our earth zone, they also hold the balance of the 9 divine rays of Numisome. The starhawks weave the 2 strands, 7 divine rays of our earth and 9 divine rays of Numisome, into our developing new earth star hologram. The starhawks were more often seen on Earth in ancient days, for as consummate time travelers, they must locate all the strands of the rays, that is, their embedded positions in DNA and atomic structure, throughout our timeline. When the current divine rays embed, so they become distorted, or rather subjected to the lenses we create in our subatomic world through our thought, intention, action in this world. This is what brings us now to the topic of the children of the Divine Rayship. Certain human incarnate souls from the Star Eagle and Starhawk tribes of genetics place themselves into dense pockets of karmic wrapping on the planet, like the conflicts of the Middle East and other continually oppositional tribes, races, and religions. The hawks are especially in the thick of it, while the eagles are more effective in overview positions. In other words, the starhawks and eagles overlight and, in a sense, do incarnate, but as a layered experience, the capstone of that layered experience, with individual souls who are highly developed and working for the good of the planet in resolving highly dense karmic issues. This is especially true of the hawks, but the eagles have overlighting positions of bringing this and coalescing this divine light so that it sheds that light, or the rayship, down into the situations of dense conflicting karmas. While starhawks tend to have a deeper incarnated connection to that being that's living as a human on the earth, the star eagles really remain more as a divine rayship coming through that experience. Now, the children of the divine rayship come out of the weaving of the star eagles and to some degree the starhawks in bringing this rayship to the planet. And the children of the divine rayship are souls who reach into the time spectrum and find themselves in the future new Earth star and bring that rayship upon them into the incarnation. So they're really souls from the future. But of course, they've been here all along in many forms, many times. But when they touch into their future selves and bring that rayship into their incarnation, they become the children of the divine rayship. I now wish to move into another aspect of this story. And it takes place with my return to Crestone, Colorado. Briefly, I lived here previously from 1994 to the year 2000, and I returned most recently in 2017. On both occasions, my mentor Thoth Hara guided me to come here, to the Sacred Valley, and to Crestone. in 2017, or rather late 2016, it was requested that I return. Now, it's always a request. There's free will involved, and it's made very clear to me through the whole process of my life, from the very beginning of my experience with these beautiful beings, the star kindred. Always, it has been my choice. And it was a very difficult choice in 2017 because I was still recovering from a broken hip and other things that were going on in my life. And we're talking about a move from Kauai back all the way to Crestone, Colorado. Quite a trip. I'd never even bought a plane ticket by myself, and I didn't know the way of the world enough to get myself from one place to the other. So I thought about it, and I said, well, I don't think so. After all, you always tell me free will, so I'm not going. I think it was the first time I've ever really rebelled like that. So I thought, well, that's settled. And I went to bed for the night. Well, during the night, I came out of my sleep state, but I was not entirely awake, in that in-between state. And I had a vision, and it was one heck of a vision. And in it, I was back in Crestone. It was nighttime, a full moon, and I was standing in a labyrinth that I knew, because this labyrinth was on the property of a woman who owns the I Am Harmony. It's a beautiful place, small, but with crystals and statues and a beautiful labyrinth made of stone. And I knew this lady before when I lived here in the 90s. I hadn't even thought of that place, and I don't know how long. But there I was, standing in the center of her labyrinth, and it was a moonlit night. I was looking across to the property that my nonprofit used to own. It was never built upon, but it was owned by my nonprofit in the 1990s. And of course, when we left, my former husband and I, we sold it to the Buddhists, and now there's a stupa on it. But I didn't know when I saw it in the vision that there was a stupa on it yet. I just knew that that area that I could just barely see in the distance was the land that we used to own. And above the land in this vision were 7 eagles circling. And in essence, I received, the star eagles are calling you home to fulfill the prophecy. Well, this went through me like a bolt of lightning, of sacred lightning. And I knew I must return now. So in the morning, I calmly began to make preparations, and it all fell together beautifully. People came to my assistance to buy plane tickets, to figure out how to ship my cats home, to do all this, and someone came to escort me to Crestone and take care of all of that for me on the plane and in the airports and everything. The right house was supplied me. It all came to fruition. So what did it mean? I was to return to fulfill the prophecy. Well, I knew at the time that I received it, I wasn't the only person that was fulfilling this prophecy, but I was a cog in the wheel, and my part needed to be accomplished along with the other parts. As preparations were being made for my return, Thoth requested that I create a video. This is the video of the prophecy of the Star Eagles, and I will place a link to this video, which is on my Vimeo channel, in the box below if you'd like to watch this. For that video, Thoth gave me the 7 prophecies of the Star Eagles. These prophecies are: first, the tablets of the Ark shall return to activate the golden stair through the Manasari of the An. Herein lies the gate to the Rutan Sun Temple. From the northern gate of the Atlantean Ruta, so the timekeepers will send forth a strand of fire through the palette of the stars above the mount. Now we pause here. This is the first one, but I want to discuss it a little here so you can understand it better. The tablets of the ark are the fragments of a tablet that Thoth predicted would be found in the climb of Mount Sinai by my friend in 1988. Well, she did this. All of a sudden she thought, oh, I've got to look to my feet. And there it was. Now there's a whole story about that. I'm not going to go into it all, but it has to do with the Hopi prophecies and the fulfillment of these things. And it did take place just as Thoth said it would. Another whole story. But this is what he's referring to by the tablets of the ark. The Monasari of the On. This is the sacred On that is now within its thresholding chamber once again in the mount, Crestone the stone. And this sacred On is what he also refers to as the Ark of Grace. Again, I have videos on all of this. The Monasari is the sphere of mana light that is projected between the wings of the ark. The Rutan Sun Temple, this is the ascended Isle of Ruta and its Sun Temple. So to continue now to the second prophecy. The queens and kings, in this instance he's referring to the dweller crystal skulls, but he's actually referring to the beings that hold the frequency of these dwellers, these skulls, shall gather about the On and become recalibrated to the diadem of the golden star of Mazuriel. The golden star of Mazuriel is in the undualistic or non-dualistic Atosic universe. It's the golden star of entry into the highest state or frequency souls can manifest. So now we go to the third prophecy. 7 nations will send their knighted lords and dames to the Templar stone. That's the Crestone the stone again. They shall bear witness to the accord. Others will follow them to the altars of old. Now, I'm not exactly sure what all that means, but I do know that we have the Templar Order of Johannine here now established in Crestone, although it is more established in our hearts and in the frequency of Thoth than any kind of, order that's you can come to as a place to experience. But this is in the future. Right now, it's a frequency that we hold. That is myself, Michael Henry Dunn, and certain others of our team here. The fourth prophecy is 7 eagles will lead the tribes home. These are the star eagles of the first race. The fifth prophecy. From the place of sand, then the temple shall rise out of the sun disk below. This shall become the temple of the rising dawn. Place of the sand would be the Great Sand Dunes National Park, which is in this sacred valley and very near to Crestone. The sun disk, Thoth has spoken of the sun disk back in the 1990s being underneath the sand dunes. And the temple of the rising dawn, when the sacred On was returned to its thresholding chamber in the mountain here, Thoth referred to it then as the rising dawn. The sixth prophecy. The seed crystals in the place of sand will become fully active, sending out a charge through the temple of the rising dawn and through the rivers of light upon and in the earth. And the final seventh prophecy is, "It is then that the tower shall be struck by lightning, and the star eagle shall come down into the field for the time of reunion." This tower he's referring to, of the tower of the physical sense, was built on this land. It's called the ziggurat, on a mound, and it's quite a famous place here in the valley. But he's referring to a greater tower, of course, that is embedded within the frequency of that mound. These prophecies were given in highly symbolic form. Thoth and those of the stations of light he represents do not give many facts and figures when talking about the future, as there are so many variables, so many ways destiny points may be registered. Yet the living symbology carries the root of the equation. This sacred valley, the San Luis, and most specifically Crestone, what is called the Baca land grants, and the sand dunes. According to Thoth, as he gave me this information in the 1990s, contains the crown chakra of the ascension grid, or temple as he calls it, for the planet Earth, with the Hawaiian Islands and the specific point being Mauna Loa on the Big Island, carrying the charge of the base chakra. And there are other chakras in between, of course. These do not represent the chakras of the planet, which goes down through the earth, but of the ascension dynamic, the grid for elevating, moving the frequency of this planet from a world system 1 to a world system 2, Aka, in this case, the new Earth star. The third part of this story that I want to share with you. Over a year ago, I created a new nonprofit called the New Earth Ark Foundation. I was guided to do this by Thoth, and it's just been sitting there waiting. More recently, he asked me to focus on it again, which I did. Now, here are the basic tenets of this foundation. The New Earth Ark Foundation is intended as a repository for the spiritual sciences and other works from the Thoth Akasha as translated by Maia Nartumid, an accumulation of material beginning in 1967. This foundation is acting as a font for teachers who will use this core material as a basis for their teachings via workshops presented through NEAF. NEAF will sponsor and run key projects such as Quantum Logica Interactive, which has been ongoing since 2020. The eventual acquisition of land and the building of an NEAF center in Crestone, Colorado, for the purpose of holding activational gatherings and teaching events. Just recently, 1 acre of land here in Crestone is being donated by a dear friend to the New Earth Ark Foundation. It's not just any piece of land. In 2013, this individual came to me to ask Thoth about this land, and he gave some very interesting information that indicated it was a special area. Now, that was in 2013, and I did not remember at all what he said about it, other than it was something special. So after she donated this to me, she also sent me the information. But first, the piece of land that we're speaking of here, donated to NEAF, was originally owned by the lady who owns I Am Harmony, where the labyrinth is that I saw myself standing in and looking at the star eagles. It's across the street from I Am Harmony. So in the vision, when I was standing in the spiral labyrinth and looking out across to the land we used to own, or rather the nonprofit did at the time, just about 40, 50, 60 feet away is the property that now is being donated to us. This can certainly be no coincidence. And further, this is what my friend who is donating the land sent me, that Thoth said to her through me in 2013. Here Thoth is speaking about this 1-acre plot of land. Through me, he gave her a mandala which represented the land. He is explaining it here. And he states, the 4 feathers represent the calling in of the 4 sacred directions, more so the star eagles. The blue andara at the center is the sky stone, delivered as the treasure from the 7 sacred mountains of creation of the firmament. In essence, at the center of the 7 mountains is Shambhala, and the Shambhala gate to the new earth. Now in 2023, Thoth tells me that the name of this land he is giving is An La Kef. An is divine light, La is mother essence, and Kef, which I had to Google, and it turns out to be a Hebrew letter, which I kind of thought it was, but I didn't know the meaning of it. And in Wiki, it says it is whole of the earth, H-O-L-E. It is also defined as hollow of a rock. Now, Thoth is using it as hollow earth. In Seraphim of the inner hollow earth is to be found a portal to the Shambhala gate of the new earth star. This I had written about a few years ago. All of these things which I have shared with you today revolve around this area being the crown chakra of the Ascension Temple for the whole planet. It's not about how special Crestone in the San Luis Valley is so much as its function for the entire planet and how it works with all the other Ascension chakras to create this very special grid, which could make a whole nother video at some point. Yet I wish to share with you, and Thoth was guiding me to share with you, the importance of the star eagles, the children of the Divine Rayship, which is being found all over the earth, and this central point here in Crestone, and how it relates to all of this. And of course, the New Earth Ark Foundation, which will serve my Thothic works, both now and after my transition, as a library for people to come and work with and teach, and to be able to access, of course, through the internet. But this will be the hub, the place, the source of that library of teachings. And yet I also feel that it's going to serve more than that. It's going to reach out in other ways that I can't imagine at this time. In conclusion, I'm presenting as a process of receipt visual images that encompass the aura, the consciousness of the star eagles and starhawks, and of course the children of the Divine Rayship.